and welcome to my YouTube channel Ultimate Knife Search. Today we are taking a look on the cold steel Trailmaster, or the master of trails in 01 tool steel, and it's an old knife, but is it outdated or is it still in the game? So let's find out, guys, and take a quick closer look on this cold steel Trailmaster here. So yes, guys, let's take a look on this old Bowie knife here. You have 9.5 inch blade and 8mm thick, and you got not a razor sharp spine there, but it is a false edge, but it will ruin your baton stick very quickly. But it has a good piercing ability, and it has this you can say bronze guard here, and it is a stick tang, guys. It is a full tang, but the tang is it's hidden here in the handle, so the tang is not so thick. So I will leave a picture up so you can see what I mean on this handle here. It's of course made to be a fighting knife, and they call it a Trailmaster, and I will say for the time now it is maybe a little bit outdated, but let's find out how this knife performs today. And I will say for its size, guys, it is pretty light, and is easy to move around because of the handle there, and there's some kind of rubber in this handle here, and they make the Secure X sheath here. I will say the retention on this sheath here is not so good. It pops out very easy, so that's something you have to consider when you buy this Trailmaster here. But overall, it's a pretty okay sheath. You have this belt loop here, and this form of plastic here, it's hold up very well. So that's a middle to good sheath, I will say here, guys. But that's a shame that the retention is not a little bit stronger. It's go out pretty easy, so you have to keep that in mind. And I'll say this is an old knife here, so if you have to compare something like similar, I will say you can compare to the good old BK9, and I will say in a heartbeat I will choose the BK9 over the Trailmaster. So but again, they are a little bit they are two different knives, and you should not always compare anything, but that's something you also have to consider if you want to buy this Trailmaster here. I'll say I buy this knife here not for a performance wise, because I buy it because of the look of it. And I'll say, if you are a knife guy and somehow you should have this in your collection, there are so many knives out there, and today I'm also carrying this Woodcraft Gen 2, and this is a whole different story. There's so much more power in this knife, and you can see when I'm talking about the rubbish over the tang here, and you have the full tang, exposed tang here, go all the way on the knife. So you cannot compare these two knives here, and that's not the case of it today. But I'll say the look of the Trailmaster is really awesome, and it has some really beautiful lines, and I like that. Good 90-degree spine, so you can take a fire steel and use that, and also, but the handle and the stick tang, the hidden full tang, you can call that, and this can go loose here, so that's not something I can definitely use it in the forest. But and there's something more, guys. This knife here, you have seen in all my tests, even my folder's knife I have thrown as a spear. This knife I will not throw as a spear today, because as again I have shown you on the picture on the screen here, it is so thin here, so I am almost 100% sure if I throw this 1 or 2 times as a spear, that will bend. Not the blade itself, but it will maybe bend here because it's not so hefty in here. So I really love this knife here, so that's why I'll not ruin it today. But let's see if the good old trailmaster can do some work. So hang on, guys. Let's see how this trailmaster here, put the sheath over here, can make some small jobs. You have a pretty okay handle on this trailmaster here, and you can make some good chopping. And even if the knife is light, you have some good amount of power when you chop with this knife here, and you can also make some small tasks here if you want to make a spear. I will say the knife, when it's 8mm thick, you can say it's a full flat grind, but it has some V shape in on the bottom there. So but again, it is going pretty good. So, and you have some good feeling on it. I remember that. So, and you can of course make something that is pointed with no problem. I would say there are not so much bite in the edge, and for example, showing this Woodcraft Gento here, there are more bite in the edge because it of course has some thinner edge down there, so there's more bite to it. But you can definitely make some fine things there with no problems. So, and let's see if you can do some batoning with this cold steel trailmaster here. There's a big knot there, so we'll maybe start here. And yes, it has some okay batoning power. I would say, guys, if you really like to baton with your knife, and I do, so you can see already now, there's this not 100% sharp edge, but a little sharp edge there will ruin your baton stick quickly. And you cannot hammer it here because you will hit this guard here, and you should not hit too much on this brace guard there. It will come loose, so you can have the bigger one here. So it can okay baton with it, but this is some big knot there. And there you can see what I'm talking about, because you are ruining your baton stick pretty easily. But let's see if you cannot kill this lock here. So this knot there is not so easy to get into, so let's see if we can help a little bit with this wood here. So we can maybe get free. No, not so easy here, guys. try if maybe do like this. I think I'm stuck there. Let's try to hit some little bit more here. You can see there, that's what I'm talking about. When you baton with it, it will ruin your stick pretty easily. So I think let's try to take it out again. It's a big knot there, but I'm not giving up, guys. See, let's try it for the other side. Let's see. This trailmaster is not happy with knots. But he shall not give up. It's the same spot again with the knots there, guys. That is some pretty hard wood there, I must say. So I am not giving up, guys. I'm not leaving splitting woods, and I will. You can see there, guys, even with an axe, it is not easy. There we go. There's a big MF knot there, so that's why. Okay, let's go back here again and see if the trailmaster can make some feather sticks. And that's no problem. You have a good angle there to make some good feather sticks. So that's awesome. And somehow, sometimes if there are guard on the knife, it's on its way, but it's no problem here to take your thumb over it and make some really good feather sticks there, guys. So that's awesome. Let's see if we can chop this. There's a big knot down there. So, yes. It goes. So let's find some more. Let's see, guys, if the trailmaster is a good throwing knife. See if we can find the distance here, guys. See if you can go in. Yes. Be a little bit closer. This knife here. No. Let's try again. No. We'll try one more time. It's pretty hard to find the distance on this trailmaster here. There you go. Now I found it. And I'll try now a couple of times to see if there's anything going loose in the guard. No. We will go on one more time. Have to stick. Yes. And see there, it go pretty deep, and there are nothing loose in the guard or anything, and there's nothing loose here in the handle, so it's hold on. So you can pierce with this knife here. There's some good piercing ability. This good old Bowie knife, and it looks awesome. Let's see how the Trailmaster chops. That's a pretty big lock there, I must say. It's about 4.5 inch. So let's see if we can chop with this knife. And this is some dry hardwood here, guys. So finally, we are going through. Oh yes, that's what hard work, guys. It is, of course, a very big and dry wood, but again, you can chop with this Trailmaster here, and I will say, if you have some work where you're sitting in the office all day and not used to farmer work, you will get hot spots with this handle here, because the rub is so hefty. But here in Scandinavian, guys, we have some Viking hands, that's no problem. So let's go on. Just for fun, guys, I'll try to chop with this knife here and see the difference in the power of chopping. Of course, now there's no weight here, so just for a funny comparison, guys, I chopped the same log 2 minutes faster with this knife here, so just so you have something to compare with. So yes. Okay, let's see how this cold steel Trailmaster 01 tool steel tray bars. So I must say, this is one of the tasks I'm not so worried about with this Trailmaster here, because this 02 steel, when I see treated properly, it is pretty tough. So, but of course, when you use your head, you should always use your head when you're handling a knife, and that's also the case when you pray bar with this cold steel here. It has still straight, and I must say, and somehow when you pray bar and push to the side, it somehow pushes itself out of the wood. That's you can say it's okay, because you will not bend the tip so easily. So that's maybe because of the sharp edge or something, but you can see there, when I jam it in and try to pray bar, it go out. So that's awesome. And you can see I have pray barred a little bit, and the tip is still straight. So a thumbs up for pray barring with a good old Trailmaster. Let's say, guys, that you have to do some small task around the campfire. You maybe need to take some small pines off here and make some small chops. So it's a pretty okay tool for that. And if you have to take some bark off here, you can see it can finally do that also. So you have also a very nimble knife to do some small things around a campfire or at home. If you are in the garden or want to make some small chops, and you have to make some kind of, you can see here I have almost take this off here, guys, and you can see here I have already made something for a trap, or you can use on a fire if you have to cook something you have hunted. So you can do some fine task also with this cold steel here, and that's awesome. Normally, guys, this is the place where I normally hammer this knife in here and stand on it, and I will say I have no worries to stand on this knife here because it's so thick, and I know I have mentioned this stick thing here, but it can hold up to stand on it. I have more doubts to throw it as a spear because I think it will bend here, but I will not do this test here, guys, because this is not the first cold steel I have with this rubber handle here. I know when you hammer on it here, you can of course do this some few times, but you will push the rubber into the metal in here. So if you have done this maybe 8 or 10 times, this end here will be ruined, and you have to put some new handle over it or do something else. And that is something I think it looks awesome. This knife here is a beautiful knife and it looks awesome, but they should and somehow have made the tank go out and make some form of hammer end, and this is also the case with the SRK5. When you are hammered on the end, you will ruin your knife end very quickly. So I will not stand on it, but I have no doubt I could stand on this knife here, and if I were in some situation I needed to hammer this knife in and stand on it to reach something, I of course will do it if there was in a survival scenario. But that's something that you have to consider also if you are like to do something like this, or if you like to hammer on your knife to use as a tool for different things. This will not hold up very long for this task. So okay, guys, that was a little information there. Okay, guys, that was a little bit testing of the good old cold steel Trailmaster. And is this knife here still the master of the trails? No, I don't think so. I really love this knife, and the question in the start, it was, is this outdated or is still in the game? You can say, if you talk about looks, I really mean this knife is still in the games because it is so beautiful, and it has some good old historic over it. I'll say it's almost the same case as I showed you in the start of the video as the BK9, and I will say this knife here I will put in the same category, because if you have to compare, and somehow I don't know why, but we always compare knives, and if I have to choose between these two knives here, I will take the BK9. This is a more reliable tool in my opinion. This is of course customized, but I will say the Trailmaster, as I mentioned in the start of my video, it is one I really love to have in my collection. It is a beautiful knife, and it's good to take out. And I will say, if you are going hiking, not hiking, but hiking for more than one day, and you have to build some shelter or something, this knife here is outdated. You will, if you're not using any glove, you will hurt your hands. You will get some good hot spots if you're not used to handle a knife for long times. And the sheath also. But again, this is only in your head, guys, and this is only my opinion. If this is a knife you have and you love to use it, this is a knife you should go with, and I have nothing wrong with that. But as I mentioned before, I really, if the knife should be better for me, this should have make it exposed full tang all the way around, so you can see this mass of steel here was still going in the handle, and now there are some thin steel here. So if you had more like this, you have the tang all the way around. So, but again, I will never get rid of this Trailmaster here, because I think it's a very beautiful knife. And when I look to it, it has sometimes when I see on it, it looks like a good tactical, something that is made over in Japan, because of this handle here and this brace guard, and it's a really awesome fighting knife. Even if it had its name, the Trailmaster, this knife here is not made for long hiking trips. This is more made for a fighting knife and a big bowie knife you can do some fine task and heavy task with. But I think if you have to compare, again, I know I'm compare, of course, let's say this Woodcraft Janto here. As I'm showed you in the video, I chopped the same log, and I chop this. This took 5 minutes to chop with this knife with the Trailmaster, and I can chop the same log in 3 minutes with this. That's 2 minutes. It's almost twice as fast with this knife here. But it also has a different shape and a different handle. But again, guys, I will say, if you like your Trailmaster and this is your ultimate knife, you shall definitely go out with this knife, and you shall use it in the field and the forest and for hiking, because that's, in the end, that's only something, one thing that counts, and that's use the knife you love. And if this is your knife you love, you should use it. But I will quickly go over it. I will take the minuses first, guys. Again, as I mentioned before, it have some stick full tang, almost like not a rat tang, but a hidden full tang. This is not so heavy. It have a sharp, not 100% sharp, but almost sharp edge here, so you are hurting your baton stick. It has a guard here that can go loose. You can hammer on the end for some light task, guys, but as I said, this is not the first cold steel I have with this type of handle here. If you hammer on a few times, you will ruin this rubber here. So, but if you take this in your mind, and you can really use this knife for something, and if you take the good things, this was one of the first knife who has this kind of thickness to it, and you feel light, and it's easy to move around. And again, if you're not the person who go out for several days, this is a beautiful knife you can take with you and use for a different kind of task. You can baton with it, you can hunt with it. I will say, guys, if you are the one who like to throw your knife as a spear, I will not use this knife here, because it's thin in here. It will bend in here, I promise you 100%. Maybe not the first time you throw it, but it will bend. So so that's something. But for normally hunting, and it has a pretty fine edge. And again, for size, guys, 9.5 inch blade there. It's pretty nimble and easy to use. So that's awesome. And I will not give this a thumbs down or anything, but in my opinion, when all the knives there are now, this is outdated. This is not in the game anymore, not for me. it will be in the same category as my BK9, and that is also awesome knife, and that is not a shame to come in that Hall of Fame, because this is really also a knife that has done me well for many years. So, but I like to take this cold steel Trailmaster out sometimes and use it, and I will not also, as you can see in my review here, I am not so hard with this knife and test it so hard as a example done with this one here. And if you consider the price, I think, I don't know, but the last time I checked, it was $130 for this 021 steel version here. So, and you get a good knife and a beautiful knife. But if you are the one who want to do all in one and you are a little bit heavy user on your knife, and you really want to hit your knife hard and pound on it and use it for anything, you have to look for something like this from Worktop Gear, and it has a good flatness to it, and yes, you can see my review on this and you will understand why. But in the whole game, I will say this is outdated, guys. So, but I love using it, and I will say in my collection at home, I have something that hang on the wall with a glass, I don't know what you call it on English, glass mantra or something, where some light on it. This has it hangs on the first, because I really love the look of it. And now I'll go home and I will clean this knife up, and it will get its place again in this mantra, because it is so beautiful. And I will say, even if you don't want to use the knife, buy it anyway, because it is a beautiful knife. And I think if you are a knife nerd like me, you almost and somehow have to have this knife here, because that's not only give a good a good view on this knife. This is also good to have different knives, so you can compare to other knives how they work and how they do. But at the time when the cold steel came out with this big Bowie knife here, it was a pretty good monster there, guys, and it somehow still is. It's just beautiful and awesome, and I really like it. Don't get me wrong, but it is outdated, guys. It's not in the game anymore, not for me. So yes, that was this review on this cold steel Trailmaster here. I know this is an old knife and a lot of review on it, and sometimes it's good to make a new review, and I would say maybe about 3 or 4 years I will take it out again, and maybe I have a different opinion on it there, but I don't think so. I think this is now a Hall of Fame knife. So yes, I only have one thing more to say. Don't go hiking. Go Viking!